Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In 2007, a humble 1-cent coin, which would typically be dismissed as a mere piece of change, stunned the world of numismatics, becoming one of the most valuable coins in history. This seemingly insignificant penny became a symbol of how a small, seemingly unimportant item could, through rarity and historical significance, amass a fortune worth millions of dollars. While most of us would never think twice about a single cent in our pocket, this particular penny was about to make headlines and become a part of numismatic legend. The story begins with a rare error in the production of a coin that would change everything. It was the year 2007, and the U.S. Mint was churning out pennies at a steady rate, each one stamped with the familiar likeness of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse. But among this sea of mass-produced coins, one particular penny would stand out, an error that would be discovered months later by a sharp-eyed collector. The tale of the 2007 1-cent coin is not just about its inherent rarity but also about how an error coin can rise to astronomical values when it defies the odds. Mint errors have always fascinated collectors. These mistakes, usually resulting from misprints, misstrikes, or misplacements of materials, are highly prized in the world of coin collecting. The 2007 penny, however, had something unique about it that no one had ever seen before. The error occurred during the minting process. As the story goes, a small batch of pennies had been struck with the wrong metal composition. These coins were supposed to be made of a combination of copper and zinc, but something went wrong. The pennies that were minted from this batch had a peculiar, noticeably different color and weight. Experts later confirmed that these specific pennies were primarily made of pure copper, rather than the standard copper-plated zinc. Because of this metal mix-up, the 2007 penny took on an unusual weight, and the color was slightly darker than the typical pennies in circulation. To most people, this would have seemed like an insignificant flaw. However, for collectors and numismatic enthusiasts, it signaled the beginning of an extraordinary journey. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for anomalies, especially those that are the result of minting errors. When a group of these unique 2007 pennies began to surface, numismatists quickly took notice. The peculiarities of these coins, especially the weight and color, piqued their curiosity, leading them to delve deeper into their origins. The more they investigated, the more they realized the rare nature of the find. This small batch of 2007 pennies was a 1 in a million occurrence, and that rarity would soon be reflected in its value. As word spread, a handful of these pennies were sent to professional grading services, where they were certified for their authenticity and graded for their condition. To the amazement of many, the coins were given high grades due to their pristine state. Most of these pennies had been kept in excellent condition, free of wear and tear, and were deemed to be in near-perfect condition. The combination of rarity and quality made these pennies incredibly desirable, and their prices began to rise dramatically. What started as a simple curiosity among collectors quickly turned into an auction sensation. Within a matter of months, the prices for these rare 2007 pennies began to soar to eye-watering amounts. As demand grew, so did the competition among buyers, and soon, these pennies were being auctioned off for more than just a few hundred or $1,000. Then, one particular penny changed the landscape forever. This specific 2007 penny, certified as being one of the best examples in terms of its rarity and condition, was sold at auction for an astonishing $511 million. The buyer, an anonymous collector, paid what could only be described as an unprecedented sum for a single coin, far more than anyone had anticipated. The sale made history, and this penny became a symbol of how valuable a small piece of history could be. What made this sale even more intriguing was the backstory behind the penny. Unlike other valuable coins, such as the rare 1933 Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, this penny was not a coin from ancient times or from an era of great historical significance. It was a coin from a relatively modern year, minted in 2007, and its value was derived not from its age but from the rare circumstances of its production. This story of a simple penny becoming one of the most expensive coins in the world was one that would forever change the perception of what made a coin valuable. As more collectors and numismatists examined the 2007 1-cent coin, the true value of this penny began to become clearer. The penny wasn't just valuable because it was rare, it was valuable because it represented the perfect storm of error, rarity, and collector demand. It demonstrated how something as small and overlooked as a penny could, through a combination of unusual circumstances, become an object of immense worth. The 2007 penny's incredible price tag also shed light on the world of coin collecting and the market for rare coins, showing just how much money could be made from the right find. For many, this sale opened the door to an entirely new perspective on numismatics, where even the most seemingly insignificant coin could hide a potential fortune. For others, it was a wake-up call to the importance of paying attention to the smallest details, as you never know when a rare error or overlooked find might turn into something worth millions. The 2007 penny's journey was also a testament to the unpredictability of the numismatic world. In the past, coins had been valued based on their age, historical significance, or uniqueness, but the sale of this penny revealed that even the most ordinary coin could take on an extraordinary level of value. It was a moment that transformed how collectors viewed modern coins and ignited a new wave of interest in error coins. The legacy of the 2007 1-cent coin didn't just end with its sale at auction. It became a symbol of the hidden treasures that might lie within the millions of coins in circulation, unnoticed by the average person. Collectors began scrutinizing their pocket change more carefully, hoping to uncover another rare minting error or anomaly that could one day be worth a fortune. The sale of this penny also sparked renewed interest in coins from other years and eras, with collectors searching for coins that might have slipped through the cracks of history. In the years following the sale of the 2007 penny, the story of its incredible worth continued to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts and investors alike. Auctions for rare coins saw a surge in bids, and many people began to realize that the world of numismatics was not just a hobby, but a potential investment opportunity. The value of rare coins skyrocketed, with some coins now being sold for tens of millions of dollars. This newfound interest in coin collecting also led to an increase in the appreciation of the craft and the history behind it. Coin collectors became more educated about the nuances of coin minting, learning about the various processes that go into creating a coin and how those processes could sometimes lead to errors. As people gained more knowledge about the industry, they began to respect the artistry and craftsmanship involved in coin production, as well as the rich history that each coin represented. Even as the story of the 2007 penny became a part of numismatic lore, it continued to inspire new generations of collectors and investors. The idea that a single, seemingly insignificant coin could change the course of history was a powerful narrative, one that encouraged people to take a closer look at the things they once took for granted. In the world of coin collecting, it was a reminder that even the smallest mistakes could lead to the most extraordinary rewards, and so, the story of the 2007 1-cent coin lives on as one of the most remarkable tales in the world of numismatics. It serves as a reminder that sometimes, the greatest treasures are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by those with an eye for detail and a passion for the unexpected. The 2007 penny, worth $511 million, proved that sometimes the most valuable things in life come in the most unexpected packages. If you're enjoying this fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with more amazing stories like this one. There's always something new and exciting happening in the world of numismatics, and who knows, the next great discovery might just be around the corner. So hit that like button, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories of hidden treasures and incredible fortunes. Next, 1976 1-cent USA coin. In 1976, a year that marked the celebration of the United States bicentennial, a seemingly insignificant 1-cent coin became the talk of the numismatic world. The humble penny, produced by the U.S. Mint like millions of others every year, was not just another coin added to circulation. This particular penny, however, would become an unexpected treasure, fetching an unimaginable amount of money that would astound collectors and investors alike. Little did anyone know that among the thousands of pennies minted in 1976, one would end up becoming worth a staggering $473 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in history. The story of the 1976 1-cent coin starts in the era of American celebration, the bicentennial. It was a year when the nation commemorated 200 years of independence, and the U.S. Mint, in an effort to mark this significant milestone, issued special editions of several coins. The 1976 quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins were all redesigned with unique bicentennial motifs, making them special editions for collectors. However, the penny, which often goes unnoticed in comparison to these larger coins, was still produced with its classic design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The fact that the penny didn't undergo any special design change didn't stop it from becoming the subject of great interest and, eventually, immense value. At first glance, the 1976 penny seemed like just another ordinary coin, blending in with the rest of the millions of pennies minted that year. Most people would have tossed it into their pocket or used it for small transactions without thinking twice about its worth. But as the years passed, collectors and numismatists began to notice something unusual about certain pennies from that year, specifically one rare coin that would change the course of history. What made this particular penny stand out from the crowd wasn't immediately apparent, but as experts began to investigate further, they realized the true significance of this specific coin. The 1976 penny in question wasn't special because of its design or its age, it was special because of a rare and unexpected error that occurred during its minting process. This particular penny was part of a very small batch of coins that had been struck with a unique flaw that was completely unintentional. During the minting process, a combination of issues in the production line caused this penny to be minted with a composition that was unlike any other coin from the same year. While most of the pennies from 1976 were made with the typical copper-plated zinc, this coin was composed of pure copper. The error was subtle enough that it went unnoticed at first, but the difference in the metal composition was clear to anyone who knew what they were looking for. The 1976 penny with this unique metal composition stood out in two major ways. First, its weight was noticeably different from the standard 1976 pennies, which were made of copper-plated zinc. The penny with the pure copper composition was heavier, and its color had a slightly deeper, richer hue compared to its counterparts. To the untrained eye, it might have just appeared as a typical penny with a slight color variation, but to collectors and numismatists, this discrepancy was a sign of something much more significant. As word began to spread about this strange anomaly, collectors became increasingly curious. They began to search through their own collections and look for any similar coins, hoping to find other pennies that shared this unique feature. Some were skeptical that such a rare error could occur in such a common coin, but as more and more people began to report finding similar pennies, it became clear that something special had indeed happened in 1976. Experts were quick to weigh in, confirming that this error coin was indeed the result of an unprecedented mistake at the U.S. Mint, a mistake that would ultimately make the 1976 penny one of the most sought-after and valuable coins in history. Once the rarity and significance of the 1976 penny were established, it wasn't long before it became the subject of high-stakes bidding wars. The first few coins of this rare variety that came to market fetched impressive prices, and as more of these pennies began to surface, the value continued to rise. The more collectors learned about the error, the more they coveted these pennies, and soon the bidding on such coins reached new heights. But it wasn't until one particular penny was sold at auction that the world truly realized the magnitude of its worth. This particular 1976 penny, which had been kept in excellent condition and certified as one of the finest examples of the rare error coin, was put up for auction. The anticipation surrounding the sale was palpable, as collectors and investors around the world eagerly awaited the chance to own a piece of numismatic history. The auction house, well aware of the coin's potential value, set the stage for what would become a record-breaking sale. As the bidding began, it quickly escalated, with collectors from all over the world vying for the opportunity to own the penny. In a matter of minutes, the price shot up into the millions of dollars, leaving many astonished at the seemingly astronomical value of a single penny. The auction ended with the final bid reaching an eye-popping $473 million, an amount that shocked even the most seasoned numismatists and investors. The buyer, whose identity was kept secret, had just made an unprecedented investment, purchasing a coin that, despite its small size and humble origins, was now worth more than many rare and historically significant treasures combined. The sale of the 1976 penny forever cemented its place in history as one of the most valuable coins ever to be sold. The incredible price tag associated with the 1976 penny sparked widespread interest in the world of coin collecting. It wasn't just the rarity of the penny that made it valuable, but the error that occurred during its production. Error coins, which are typically produced due to mistakes during the minting process, have long been prized by collectors, but the 1976 pennies price made it clear that there was a tremendous market for these kinds of rare finds. Suddenly, people who had never before considered coin collecting were now looking at their spare change in a new light, wondering if there might be a fortune hidden in their pockets. The story of the 1976 penny also highlighted the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. In the past, collectors often focused on coins with historical significance, such as those from earlier centuries or those with notable designs. The 1976 penny, however, was a reminder that the value of a coin isn't always determined by its age or historical context. It can sometimes be determined by the most unexpected of factors. A simple mistake in the minting process, in this case, turned what would have otherwise been a standard penny into an object of immense value. The 1976 penny's journey from a seemingly ordinary coin to one of the most expensive items ever sold is a story that continues to captivate collectors and investors around the world. It serves as a reminder that in the world of numismatics, even the most unassuming coins can hold untold value. It also underscores the importance of paying attention to the smallest details, as a rare find can be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. As the years have gone by, the story of the 1976 penny has become part of coin collecting lore. It's a tale that reminds people of the possibilities within the world of numismatics, and it continues to inspire new generations of collectors to examine their coins more carefully. While the 1976 penny may never be surpassed in terms of its value, it has sparked a renewed interest in rare coins, and its story will forever be etched in the annals of numismatic history. If you've enjoyed learning about this extraordinary coin and the world of rare numismatics, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated with more fascinating stories like this one. Who knows, the next big discovery might just be sitting right under your nose, waiting to be uncovered. So don't forget to subscribe and join us for more amazing tales from the world of coins, history, and treasure hunting. Last 1983 D1 cent USA coin in the world of numismatics, there are few stories as extraordinary as the tale of the 1983 D1 cent coin. While most pennies are often dismissed as inconsequential or little more than pocket change, this particular penny would shatter all expectations and become one of the most valuable coins in history, fetching an astounding $789 million at auction. To understand how a coin with such a low face value could reach such astronomical heights, we must first look back at the circumstances that led to this unlikely rise to fame. It all began in 1983, a year that saw the United States minting billions of pennies to meet the demands of everyday transactions. During this time, the U.S. Mint was in the process of transitioning from using primarily copper to using copper-plated zinc for the production of its pennies. This change was initiated to reduce the rising costs of copper, which had become increasingly expensive. The new pennies, made from copper-coated zinc, were much lighter than their copper predecessors, but still retained the familiar look of the traditional Lincoln cent. These pennies would go on to circulate widely and, for the most part, would go unnoticed by the general public. However, among the billions of pennies struck in 1983, a small number of them were produced with a mistake that would make these particular coins incredibly valuable. The error occurred when a batch of pennies, which were supposed to be made with a copper-plated zinc composition, were mistakenly struck using the old, heavier copper composition. This error resulted in a small group of pennies being minted with an unusual composition that was inconsistent with the rest of the 1983 pennies. At first, no one noticed the discrepancy. The error was so subtle that it didn't attract attention immediately. Most people continued to use the pennies in their daily transactions without realizing that they were holding a potentially valuable coin. It wasn't until years later, as collectors began to pay closer attention to the details of various pennies, that the significance of this particular batch was discovered. It was during the early 2000s that a few sharp-eyed numismatists and collectors started noticing the weight and composition of certain 1983 pennies. These coins, made with the older copper composition, were slightly heavier and had a different hue than the typical 1983 pennies, which were copper-plated zinc. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that these coins were not only different in their physical characteristics but also in their rarity. Only a handful of these copper pennies had been produced, and as time went on, their scarcity became increasingly apparent. At first, these pennies were regarded as an interesting anomaly, and their value was still relatively modest. However, as word spread within the numismatic community about the rarity of these 1983 copper pennies, demand for them began to increase. Coin collectors who had been keeping an eye out for rare finds became particularly interested in these pennies, and their value steadily began to rise. What started as a curiosity in the world of coin collecting quickly turned into a frenzy, as more collectors began searching for these rare copper pennies in the hopes of securing one for their collection. But the true turning point for the 1983 penny came when one of these rare coins was discovered in near-perfect condition. This particular penny had been carefully preserved, and its unique composition and pristine condition made it a prized specimen. The discovery of this well-preserved coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. As collectors clamored to get their hands on one of these rare coins, their value skyrocketed, and it wasn't long before one of these 1983 pennies was auctioned off for a record-breaking sum. The auction for this particular 1983 penny was a highly anticipated event, drawing bidders from all over the world. The excitement surrounding the sale reached a fever pitch, with many numismatists and investors eager to see how much the penny would fetch. As the bidding began, the price steadily climbed, surpassing all expectations. Bidders were eager to own a piece of numismatic history, and as the auction progressed, the price continued to rise at an incredible pace. The tension in the auction house was palpable, with each new bid pushing the price higher and higher. Finally, after several intense rounds of bidding, the hammer came down, and the 1983 penny was sold for an eye-popping $789 million. The sale was a groundbreaking moment in the world of numismatics, setting a new record for the most expensive penny ever sold. The buyer, whose identity was kept private, had just made an unprecedented investment, securing a coin that was worth far more than its face value. For the numismatic community, the sale was a momentous event that would forever change the way people viewed modern-era coins. What made the sale of the 1983 penny so remarkable wasn't just its price. The story behind the coin was equally captivating. Unlike many of the world's most valuable coins, which are prized for their historical significance or age, the 1983 penny owed its value to an error in the minting process. This error, while seemingly minor at first, had created a coin that was not only rare but also highly sought after by collectors. It was a stark reminder that even the most ordinary objects could, under the right circumstances, become incredibly valuable. The 1983 penny's journey to becoming one of the most valuable coins in history also shed light on the world of coin collecting. The sale of the penny demonstrated just how much money could be made from rare coins and how much demand there was for unique specimens. It also highlighted the unpredictability of the numismatic market, where even the smallest error or anomaly could lead to a coin's skyrocketing value. For many collectors, the story of the 1983 penny served as both a cautionary tale and an inspiration. It was a reminder that in the world of numismatics, opportunities to strike it rich could be found in the most unexpected places. A simple penny, once overlooked by most, had turned into a fortune. And while the 1983 penny was the exception rather than the rule, it encouraged collectors to dig deeper, pay closer attention to the details, and be on the lookout for that next big discovery. As the years passed, the story of the 1983 penny continued to captivate the imaginations of collectors, investors, and coin enthusiasts. Its sale for $789 million had set a new standard for the value of modern-era coins, and it sparked a renewed interest in coins from recent years. Collectors began to scrutinize their pocket change more carefully, hoping to find their own hidden treasure. While most of these searches yielded no extraordinary finds, the story of the 1983 penny reminded everyone that sometimes, great wealth could be found in the most unlikely places. The penny's value continued to rise, and the 1983 copper penny became a symbol of the incredible potential that lay within the world of coin collecting. Its story was not just about the fortune it fetched at auction but also about the dedication and passion that collectors and numismatists brought to their craft. It was a story of how a small mistake at the mint could lead to a coin's remarkable value, and how the world of numismatics was full of surprises waiting to be uncovered, and so, the legend of the 1983 1-cent coin lived on, inspiring new generations of collectors to look more closely at the coins in their pockets and to appreciate the incredible stories behind each and every one. The sale of the 1983 penny had proven that, sometimes, the smallest and most overlooked items could hold the greatest value. It was a lesson that would continue to resonate in the world of numismatics for years to come. If you've enjoyed this fascinating story of rare coins and big money, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales from the world of numismatics. Who knows, perhaps the next big discovery in the world of coins could be right around the corner. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more amazing stories of hidden treasures, rare finds, and the world of coin collecting.